Get it. Man, that thing's got some ponies. She's ripping. I bet you that is the first time anybody's ever crossed this bridge on something that small.
Yeah.
Retrieving the Gator 50. Made it. Gotta fix the electronics and the muffler on that thing. Some other stuff. Alright, so I just got this thing in here today. It's kind of like a Grom and a moped mixed together. It's called a Gator 50. It's got a 50cc GY6 engine on it. It runs good. Main complaint though is it's not charging. Something's wrong with the charging system. So I got the voltage regulator or the voltage meter hooked up to it. Unplugged it from where it goes into the harness for the regulator, and I'm getting voltage. So it's something simple. I'm gonna fix that, and then my friend who owns this wants it to go a little faster, so we're gonna change the weights and pulleys in this thing, and maybe, just maybe, get rid of that piece of poo GY6 CV carburetor. Maybe go to like a PWK 28, something like that. I think it would go a lot better. And also I'm fixing the muffler. The muffler's a little messed up on it. So that's that. Fun, fun. I think it's backfired. Alright, so yeah, we're getting voltage. And then so they're both putting out power, both will charge the battery. That's good. It's probably a bad regulator. I'll pull the regulator out next and test that on the bench and see what's going on. The little thing runs pretty good though, honestly. Can't wait to hear what it sounds like with a carb and fix that exhaust leak. The thing is so ungodly loud right now. There's just a huge hole where this was supposed to hold it on here. Just gonna weld her on up. I was getting voltage coming from the motor to here. But I decided to take the plastics off and see if I was getting the same voltage up here to the CD or to the rectifier / regulator, and I was not. So what I'm going to do now, I haven't tried this yet, but I just took the ground from here, tied it to the ground from the motor, and then my two stator wires, that's these yellow ones, the yellow leads I have coming up. There's one, the one with the gray stripe I have on this wire is going to the white one. And then the other one's just yellow. And they're just yellow to yellow, white to white, green to green, straight to the motor. And then I have it plugged in here, so the hot output, this should be my 12-volt out. If this regulator's working and it was just the wiring harness, the light should turn on. About to see. Alright, so it definitely was a wiring harness issue. You can see what I just showed you. I hooked up there. And now I don't feel as bad about cutting into my buddy's wiring harness because it needed to be done anyways. So yeah, just a burnt wire on one of these China scooters could cause you a whole lot of problems. I mean, look, he had bike lights on his turn signal so he could go to work with the Schwinn bike headlight. Still works. You can use that on them foggy nights, you know? See if the turn signals work. Oh, all the turn signals work and everything. She's roadworthy. Might take this thing to the bar. Alright. So that's one problem fixed. Now I just got to change the carburetor and the weights and clutches so that it's a race machine. Working on a friend of mine here's Gator 50. It's like looks like a Honda Grom, but it has a scooter motor in it. And he busted the pipe. He must have hit off something, because this is like supposed to be like that, you know, but it was down like this when the bolt's tight, so it's bent. So I'm gonna take this off and straighten it out and then weld it back up here. Got in the rig, just gonna heat it up with the torches, and oh boy, look at that. OSHA would have a field day with this. Yeah, we're far enough away. I got my bucket of water to dump the whole thing in there so it'll cool, quench it, make it nice and strong. about to heat up this bracket here so I can bend it back to the original position, approximately. Love when it snaps back like that, especially when people that don't usually use torches are around. They're like, ah. And heat this bitch here till it's cherry. And do a little bending on it. Wow. Alright, I got that now right about where I want it. I'm going to tack that on and then take the whole pipe off and weld the whole thing up. And I didn't know what that chrome plating or whatever that is made out of. Pretty sure that's chrome, so I just went ahead with the angle grinder and grinded it off before I tack it. I'm going to end up getting the back side of it with the wire wheel. Be easier to get in there, but just stripped it off with a grinder so I could tack it real quick. This thing stopped spinning and my heart dropped. It's close, but she ain't out, bud. She ain't out. This is like really thin metal, but this wire welder, for being a Harbor Freight, I mean, the thing's like $120 or maybe even $90. I'm not quite sure. I know it wasn't expensive. Works pretty damn good. Has a lot of control for what it is. It's only 2 voltages minimum and maximum, but surprisingly with just that and the wire speed, you get a decent weld on just about anything thin. Surprised the hell out of me, I'll tell you that. You know, this is good enough. I'm just going to grind it off and paint it up, just for my buddy's Chinese scooter. This is going on a race car or something, maybe we take our time with. Just so it's not extremely loud, and it's going to be under the bike, you're never even going to see it. Oh, it's still a little hot. Wow, what a boogered mess. In my defense, there was 2 huge holes in the exhaust there. I kind of just had to keep filling it in. Thank God for angle grinders and spray paint, people. Just gonna give this thing a quick coat of paint so it doesn't rust. I am by no means a painter, so I think I can do it without getting a run though. I swear the cheaper the spray paint, like this Walmart 96-cent can stuff, works pretty good. And believe it or not, I've actually used it on my snowmobile pipe, and it lasted. Didn't catch on fire or anything. So I'm gonna paint like, right up here. I'm gonna keep it away from the header because that gets way hot. But just this part that I grinded and welded and stuff, I need to get some paint on it so it doesn't rust. Getting a little thick there. Alright, I mean, I'd say that's presentable for a wire feed. Literally, unless you get down on your hands and knees, you wouldn't even be able to tell. And I filled the shit out of it, so there's a lot of structural metal there. It'll be alright. About to start putting the plastics back on this thing. I just soldered and harnessed this up to the voltage regulator. Here's my 3 wires here. 2 stator wires and a ground. I have them coming back out here. This is where the clamp originally went onto the wiring harness. Something was wrong in the wiring harness, so I just redid it here. All the way up to there, and just gonna tape that and harness it up, and then put the plastics back on, put the muffler back on, and it's done. Yeah, these Chinese bikes are getting better. There's still a few things though, if you get one, that I'd look over, like, you know, the wiring harness, plugs, and everything like that, because this one, everything was just hanging. I just had to zip tie all this stuff up so it doesn't vibrate around. You know, that and a bad solder joint was actually what made the whole electrical system stop working on this thing, because this stopped getting ground. So I just ran 3 new wires right from the stator up to the harness there on the voltage regulator. But yeah, anyways, like 2 years ago, I would have said no, never buy one of these. But China's getting better, honestly. These little GY6 scooters are super reliable. Now, you might have to weld something on it, like the exhausts are cheap, but for the main part, you know, the main scooter, the bike itself, they're usually all right. I mean, Mason had a knockoff Grom too, and that thing worked pretty good. We used to beat on it a little bit. Here's a prime example of what I was talking about with the Chinese bikes here. So it's 15 amp fuse, main fuse that runs everything. The spare that it came with is a 20. And they said, oh, if the 15's blowing, well, we'll just put a bigger one in. And this was hanging down, like, just all jangled up, nothing holding it at all. Right, and that's the main fuse that runs everything. So I'm gonna zip tie that up real quick, kind of keep it out of the water because it's right there. It's just getting covered with water from the back tire or from the front tire. Not serious problems, just stupid little things like that. All the Chinese bikes have them. Little trick for putting the exhaust back with the gasket, especially on these GY6 motors. They have like a plastic shroud. Everything's recessed way up in there. Just take a hot glue gun and literally clean all this shit off it with like a wire brush. I already did there too. And then just glue it on there. Not a lot, just enough to keep it in place while you bolt it on. And then it'll melt off, you know, first ride. Alright, I got my electronics all done up here. Got the new battery in. Was missing the strap, so I just used a piece of copper wire and twisted it down. It ain't going nowhere. Just got the exhaust back on here. Everything mounted up great. Here's the weld and everything I had to do. They said it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's just something I did real quick with a wire feed, so it's functional. Got to put the plastics back on. This is good to go. Look at this, it actually has power now. Woohoo! Alright, I got the pipe back on and everything's all buttoned up on this thing here. Put a new battery in it. It's good to go now. Start it up real quick. Sounds a lot better. Doesn't sound like an airplane anymore, so that's good. I think he'll be happy. Don't have to kick it anymore. Actually have headlights and taillights. Oh, and the turn signals even work. Would you look at that? Even that one works. Alright, ready to be delivered. Just dropped the scooter off to my boy. It's running good.